Do you feel like you're slowing yourself down or that your quads are taking a pounding when you're going down steep downhill trails? Well, I have got 3 things for you to focus on so you can go downhill faster and be less likely to get injured. Hey, Coach Eric and my trusty assistant Nico here, bringing you weekly videos on mistakes we've made and lessons learned so you can become a better triathlete. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another weekly video. Email me right now at ewjtry@gmail.com for a free coaching consultation. Let's talk downhill. Needless to say, I've had several falls over the years on the trails, and they have all been downhill. Off-road races are notorious for having the big steep uphills. I'll put a link for how to do that. We did that last week. But if you go up the uphill, you've got typically either a steep downhill or a long downhill. So you've got to be able to practice both. Now, if you fall as well, one of the things you can do in the short term is throw on a handy bicycle glove like this, especially if it's summertime, it's hot, so it's not covering the whole hand, but it's got this extra padding right here. And I've taken a couple falls and it's been helpful where it doesn't scratch up your hand, because my natural tendency when I trip and fall is to go like this. And while that's not the best thing, and that's a mistake for another video, if you do that way, these gloves can potentially help with that. Now, more long term, we want to not fall at all. Now, 3 ways to improve your downhill running and reduce your chances of falling. Number 1, land on your midfoot to forefoot. You don't want to land on your heel because this actually can increase the chances of an ankle sprain. So when you're thinking about this, think of walking downstairs. When you walk downstairs, you typically shouldn't land heel first. It's more midfoot to forefoot. So think of it like that and then try to apply that to the trail. Tip 2 is have a faster, shorter cadence. Try to get up to 180 if you can. That can be very challenging, but it's just increasing whatever your cadence is. This does 2 main things. Number 1, it will reduce the chances of you falling, because with those very short, quicker strides, if you do hit a rock or a root or get off balance, your other leg is coming very quickly behind so that you can readjust. Whereas if you have these longer, more bounding strides and you get off balance, you're more likely to fall, especially going downhill on the trail. The other thing they can really help with is muscle fatigue, especially with the quads. With those longer downhill strides, you're more likely to have quad cramps with that eccentric contraction. So, and if you don't experience that during the race, that's great. But the other aspect with those long strides is it can actually increase the chances that you're going to have quad soreness the next day. So those shorter strides will help you, hopefully during the race, reduce the chances of that quad stress and strain, and also have a better recovery experience the following day. So short, quick strides. Tip 3 is you want to focus on your posture, remaining mostly upright and engaging this whole core area as you go down the hill. Basically, you don't want to really lean forward at all, and you also don't want to lean back, even though that can be the tendency as you kind of hit the brakes. You want to remain mostly upright. It'll feel a little bit downhill because you are going downhill, so it'll feel like you're leaning a bit forward. But if you looked at yourself from the side, you would be mostly upright, and then let gravity do the work. In order to really do this, you've got to get your mind out of the way and relax. I know, easier said than done, but it's the truth. Because if you're going on the hill saying, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, I'm going to trip over that rock, and don't fall, all your brain's hearing is fall, rock, and then you're going to fall. You want to look a few feet in front of you at where you want to go and constantly focus on that as you head down the trail. If you really put the brakes on, again, you're going to fatigue those quads if you're leaning back and really landing that way. So if it really is too steep for you, one of the other options is to kind of go back and forth across the hill a little bit, so it's not, gravity's not taking you down as far with that kind of going back and forth in the steeper sections. Okay, so 2 ways to practice this. Number 1, visualize, right? I'm all about the mind. I have to be psychologist, right? But visualize. Sit for a few minutes or even just a few seconds before you go down a trail and visualize the things we just talked about and how you're going to be successful and doing well at it. See it with your mind's eye first and then implement it. And if the trails really are too difficult for you at first, that's okay. You got to start somewhere and then build your way up. So you can start on flat, grassy terrain or a slight downhill terrain that's not as steep, and then practice these 3 things we talked about. Start with just 10 to maybe even 15-second repetitions. Your brain, this is a new skill that your brain and your body needs to learn, and so doing very short intervals, if you will, take another minute rest between, and then do it again. Or maybe walk back up the hill and then do it again, and do 5 to 10 of these reps until you start to build that confidence. All right, quick review for downhill running. Number 1, land on your forefoot. Number 2, short, quick strides. And number 3, keep your body upright, engage the core, and let gravity do its work. And you're going to do that by getting your mind out of the way. Focus on what you're doing in the moment. Your mind is going to try to keep you safe. But sometimes it's overkill, and you want to be able to do this downhill. You can do it. So tell your mind to take a back seat for a second and practice these things, and you will be faster and less likely to have quad soreness on those downhills. All right, I hope that video was helpful for you. Put a comment below. Tell me what helps you the most with downhill running, especially with these really steep or long off-road triathlon races. There'll be a new video next week, and until then, I'll see you on the trails.